Welcome back to Let's Play of the Devil. Greetings and salutations, everyone. It looks like we're going to have our first court section, and a part of me that's paranoid and worried. So I know, from starting up the game, I know about certain achievements. And one of them is... hang on. Wait, no! Why is it auto-playing? Because the name of one of the achievements... The name of one of the achievements is very important. So it basically says, give your first order to your newest employee or something along those lines. And while it might be something silly or something cute, it might also be something horrible, because it's very easy to forget with how charming she is. Morgan's a sociopath. She kills people. She kills a lot of people. So, backlog, please. Emma would be irritated and more than a little confused, but I could play it off as an exercise in grief. The android would complain loudly, of course, but I wouldn't have to listen to it. Now that it's registered in my name, I could probably just order the damn thing to reset its memory. But I haven't done that, and I guess I don't plan to. Why? It must be because I have my suspicions as well. Sarah insists that David would never commit suicide, and I haven't actually stopped to ask myself whether or not I agree. David was rational, subdued, private, hard on himself, and not prone to emotional outbursts. So maybe that's why I'm finding myself outside a courtroom, prepared to humour and add suspicions before the state. Because I don't really believe David killed himself either. What's your progress bar at? I can confirm that I am making progress. Well shit, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But it would be difficult to summarise that progress in terms of a completion percent. Give it your best shot anyway. 4%. Are you feeling confident in your case? Markedly less so after hearing that. Do you think the judge will be amenable to your argument? What are you talking about? Do you know the judge we've been assigned? Are they particularly lenient or strict? Adjutants are always a coin flip, so... You do know what an adjutant is, don't you? Are you expecting to see a bearded old man with a robe and gavel when we get in there? Man, the game is really laying on the Ace Attorney references. Should I not? Adjutants are android judges, okay? With all the authority that entails. Adjutants are automated dependents that preside over trials for the state. While most adjutants are designed and sold as software and then loaded onto court-specific hardware, including android bodies, they can interpret trial proceedings and render out judgment based entirely on stenographer records if need be, ruling on cases in an entirely digital capacity. Reviews of adjutants by third parties has shown that they are overwhelmingly more equitable and even-handed in their sentencing than human judges. They cannot be bribed or intimidated. Oh wait, no. Because they can't be bribed or intimidated, adjutants are especially preferred for cases involving organized crime or corporate misconduct. Adjutants use a ninefold personality engram for rendering their judgments and building consensus, known as the nonary system among software engineers. No, we can't go wiki diving. Because each of these 9 personas are constructed by a different think tank or institution from across the political spectrum, ideological denomination in adjutant units is practically impossible. There have been a small number of reported cases where nonary processing has borne particularly enthusiastic or eccentric personas, presumably an unorthodox, if not effective, attempt to reconcile particularly disparate opinions across their 9 constituent personalities with a single, authoritative, loud voice. With the state's court backlog essentially cleared for the past half-decade, questions arose to the continued need for adjutants to lighten the judicial system's human resource burden. But Senate Investigation Committee 7-4 JD91 determined that removing adjutants from the legal system would be prohibitively expensive at this point. Well, what else are you going to use all the money that you're saving on? I am surprised to hear that people are willing to accept rulings made by automated dependents. Rulings come from landmark cases in the higher courts. Those are passed down by actual judges, real people with decades of study and experience. But not every eviction case or traffic ticket that ends up in court requires years of legal expertise. Sometimes all you need is a referee and a sentencing algorithm. So androids are used to reduce caseload. Been that way for decades. But how was a law that replaced judges ever enforced? Wouldn't there be injunctions? Stalling? Judges did fight it for years, at every level and in every theatre. But the public lost their patience for that kind of obstruction during the 60s. The state needed to shred budgets across the board, and so judges that couldn't be replaced by years of legal battles were instead ushered into early retirement by the unrelenting force of our great nation's accountants. And it's not controversial having machines determine sentencing for human beings. Whatever controversy there is, it gets aimed at the machines, not the people who put them there. And the machines can't lose sleep over it. Besides, it used to be that even the most high-profile of crimes wouldn't get a court date until weeks or months later. Nowadays, most crimes are prosecuted within a single business week. And that's not rushing things. Keeps people in my line of work on their toes, that's for sure. I'm just surprised there's so much haste. Don't they teach you about classical conditioning in Android school? You gotta feed the dog immediately after you ring the bell. If punishment doesn't follow the crime in quick succession, the lesson doesn't stick. I see. But if adjutants are so effective, why aren't they used in every trial? Why aren't they used in politics? That's a logical question to ask. And the answer is, that logic only gets you so far when it comes to people. Doesn't everyone want the courts to be just as fast as possible? If adjutants are truly impartial and incorruptible, everyone wants justice, sure. But there are other considerations to be had. Such as disgust. What? That's all people really care about, what all their morals boil down to. Just what they do or don't find disgusting. Only problem is, everything's more palatable when viewed through a screen. So when everyone sees the world through AR and cameras and no one ever gets dirt under their fingernails, you'd be surprised what you can get away with. I don't understand. Yeah, well, therein lies the problem. If you can't understand, then neither can the adjutants. 6:24 PM, July 1st, 2086. Courtroom 48D. Hey there, Emma. We're just gonna hang on this screen for a bit while I remind myself about all the evidence. CCE, Counter-Corporate Espionage, a playbook of aggressive defensive tactics for everything from public life to personal security, intended to help high-value members of a corporate body minimize risk to themselves and the company. I get the feeling that the things that aren't directly used for the case are going to be used as more enhancements? Reasonings, that's what I'm thinking of. Individuals at or above David Asher and Helen Jung receive training in it multiple times a year. Chromifuge, manufacturing machinery that processes organic fluids used in the production of warm androids. Removes byproducts, impurities, and pigments from android blood, therefore changing its color from red to pink. You know, we saw pink blood at the very start of this case and I didn't even properly register it. David's autopsy. Lost consciousness at 8:03, declared dead at 8:25. Who was presiding? We don't know. Unknown substance detected in bloodstream, approximately 20 milligrams total. These readings are a nightmare. David's contract. A binder containing the full text of David Ash's employment contract with Noble Electronics. Details compensation, grounds for dismissal, definitions for what constitutes a breach of contract, and how arbitrations would be handled. Not a light read. So arbitration. I think I actually found out about that from social media, is that it's for skipping a court case and going straight to an immediate decision on things. People got really upset at Disney for a Disney World app recommending, hey, go to this place. It has anti-allergen food, and then it didn't, and a man's wife died, and Disney didn't want to pay for the funeral. It was all just a complete mess because they tried to say, well, you took Disney Plus ages ago, that means you have to go straight to arbitration, which is to Disney's advantage. David's cup. The plastic cup David Asher was drinking from before he died. It shows matches for fingerprints and saliva, but toxicology tests have proven inconclusive. Too much whiskey was drunk and or evaporated. Oh, every time it's going to scroll back up to the top. This is going to be tedious to read. Emergency console. A penumbra security console located inside David Asher's kitchen, used to contact emergency services. Private emergency service was contacted at 8:04. Medics arrived at the helipad at 8:08. Emergency services contracted through David Asher's Caduceus Executive 4 insurance plan. Yeah, it just snaps straight back. The Executive 4 plan. David Asher's health insurance policy with Caduceus, paid for through Noble Electronics, includes private EMS services on standby. Caduceus only offers 3 levels of employer, provided plans that outrank it. Oh, it only offers 3 levels. I don't like that it keeps snapping back. Jung's cup, a small plastic cup with a small amount of whiskey left in it, found upright on the dining table. Saliva and fingerprints match Helen Jung, contains no traces of foreign elements. We rely so heavily on the evidence being collected by people we can trust in these games. David Asher and Helen Jung started at Noble at the same time and position. They would often toast their hard-won victories with cheap liquor in plastic cups in commemoration of their first big win, convincing Noble Electronics to adopt what became known as the one-point doctrine approach to Android manufacturing, emphasizing quality over quantity. The Nanofactorer, a machine capable of assembling organic or inorganic compounds and even nanomachines after just 2 minutes of vacuum-sealed mixing. It would be 2 minutes off the screen, wouldn't it? I feel like found at Noble's factory show floor, machines just like it are used through the production process of making warm androids. An unidentified substance found in the bloodstream of David Asher after his death has many similarities to the chemical makeup of a depressant drug. No additional traces found anywhere at the crime scene or in David's penthouse. A salt shaker that was accidentally knocked over during the investigation. The cap was loose. All salt spilled over the countertop next to the sink. Spilled salt is an omen of bad luck, according to some. Consuming too much salt at once will make you gag, according to Sarah. This is such a weird, random thing to throw into our evidence log that I have to wonder, how is it going to be useful? It feels like the equivalent of... what's that? The Detective Rain Code. The first partner, once you get out of it, case 0, has the ability to see the crime scene as it was presented as it was first seen by the first witness. And the trick with that one is that the culprit claims, oh no, you're seeing it through my eyes. I was the first witness. But actually, he knocked over a paint can after seeing the body. And then it turns out that the witness had the paint can knocked over, and that's the giveaway point. The salt shaker being knocked over sounds like something along those lines. Sarah valuation. Evaluation of the android Sarah's financial value by an insurance algorithm. Takes into account the fact that Sarah is the only known android made by David Asher, the last known piece of tech he worked on, the fact he is now deceased, and he cannot create any more, the fact that Sarah is one of a kind, the value of the components used in her construction, and the potential. Oh right. This is just, Sarah is worth a lot of money. Sarah's papers. A document declaring that Evangeline Morgan. Right, we got into a bit of a scuffle earlier with that name, with our actual first name, is to be given absolute ownership of the android Sarah effective immediately. Signed and dated by Asher over 2 weeks ago. A tax-free transaction, fortunately. We wouldn't be able to afford that. Tox screen. A test performed on David Asher when he arrived at the Gatesfield Memorial Hospital to determine what, if any, illicit substances were in his body. Alcohol was the only item positively identified at the time. And then we had to go deeper. Water glass. The glass of water found in the sink of David Asher's kitchen bears Helen Jung's DNA and fingerprints, no signs of poison. Hang on. Her DNA? Does that mean she drank from this glass? Could it have been that the nanomachines were programmed to kill unless you had a drink of water? Activated by alcohol, killed by water. Whiskey. A bottle of... But then it wouldn't explain why there's no toxic elements or foreign elements in this Rose River. A bottle of Rose River whiskey found on the dining table at the scene of the crime. Forensic analysis shows no foreign elements or toxins, known to be a brand favored by the deceased. Whiskey found spilled on the dining room table. After evaporating most of the night, there's little left to test. No foreign compounds have been found, but results are deemed inconclusive. Jung's statements made to the police, corroborated by security footage. Jung arrived at 7:30 p.m. and remained on camera until 8:03. She spoke with David Asher in his parlor before he left to retrieve liquor from his basement at 7:36. Upon returning at 7:40, the two of them continued speaking while they drank from plastic cups. David Asher felt lethargic and disoriented shortly after 8 p.m. He lost consciousness at 8:03. EMS were called from the emergency console in 8:04. They were taken at 8:08. That is 20 minutes of me looking through all my old evidence. I always forget about Discord. Alright, sweetheart, let's start. Just a preliminary hearing, huh? You wouldn't know it from the look on her face. But I should never have expected any leeway once we stepped into the courtroom. Not with her. That's the adjutant up there. Is it asleep? It's loading. It needs to load. Don't be rude, not every ad can afford to be decked out as extravagantly as you. Especially not the state buys in bulk. There's an audience. You mean the gallery? That's nothing. It could have been a lot worse. Word of any trial in the case of David Asher's death must have spread like wildfire. Even a mock trial like this one. Detectives like Ray's or London would get chewed out for leaking things to the press. But uniformed officers had little to lose and a lot to gain by dropping a text to their attentive friends in the media. And then there's the culprit plants. Interns usually, preferably ones with modded eyes. It's illegal to film inside a courtroom, but this is the year 2086. Things are gonna get out one way or another. I don't like having my face on camera. I don't like attention in general. But I'm not such a coward. I'd skip David's funeral just because there'd be paparazzi outside of it. My pretty little likeness was going to end up in the backgrounds of some tabloid photograph one way or another by the end of this circus. At least this way, it's decent marketing for my legal services. What will happen once the Adjutant finishes loading? How will the trial proceed? With all those films you watch, I figured you could extrapolate. I'm asking so as to correct any misconceptions. Well, not everything you saw on the silver screen is outdated. The court will come to order. There will be a clarification of the charges. The defense enters a plea. If it's not guilty, the prosecution begins making their case. That means calling witnesses to the stand, correct? Mostly, sometimes they'll testify virtually from a separate location. Depends on security concerns surrounding the particular individual in the case. What do you do then? Sit here and watch? Not if I want to get paid. I cross-examine witnesses after the prosecution are done questioning them. I can present evidence or witnesses of my own in response, as long as I have a discovery backing me. You've said that before. Discovery means just that I can't pull stuff out of my pockets and present it without any kind of context. I have to have proof that I acquired it legally during the course of my investigation. Most of the time that means having recordings or witnesses that can verify my investigation, which I can provide. You didn't think I was letting you tag along because I liked you, did you? And the jury, I don't see where they would sit. The jury hasn't sat in the actual courtroom for years now. They have their own chambers where they watch a feed of the trial's proceedings in anonymity. And that's not an issue? Don't people want to look someone in the eye before passing judgment on them? You've got an old-fashioned sense of justice, don't you? But there's no jury at a preliminary hearing anyway. It's only meant to evaluate whether or not the prosecution has enough evidence to go to trial. A mere formality in today's day and age. With tools like optics and arcs, there's never a shortage of evidence to work with. So all you have to do today is convince the adjutant. Easier said than done. Adjutants lean heavily towards evidence over arguments. And right now, all the evidence suggests that David killed himself. If it's going to be an uphill battle, I can't afford to stumble. I need to focus on establishing an alternate interpretation of the facts, and it needs to be solid. But I don't have a suspect or even a motive for killing David. Yet. Anyway, I'll need to be sharp. Emma doesn't play nice enough for me to be anything less. I think it's waking up.
This third lower court is now in session. Adjutant AD 84 presiding. I call to order the case of the people versus Asher. Do the people wish to make an opening statement?
No, Your Honour. No point in bothering when it's just the adjutant here.
Very well. Do the defence wish to make an opening statement?
The adjutant actually has the same voice blips as Sarah does. That's kind of cool. It makes sense, but it's still cool. Not at this time, Your Honour. Wait, did we just... Oh dear. Might as well ring the bell and get this shit show started.
If neither the people nor the defence wish to make an opening statement, then it falls to me to set the stage. My model name is Adjutant. My unit designation code is AD84. I am a machine, an automated dependent, and I serve the state by presiding over trials. You might find yourself wondering why.
Why do... well, I'm more wondering, why is there a heartbeat?
What gives a machine the right to judge a human? A fair question, but the answer is simple. In every culture, in every society, no matter how it is worshipped, enshrined or deified, justice has one defining quality. Justice is beautiful. Like a balanced equation, like the golden ratio, like the Vitruvian man, justice is beautiful. So, what gives me the right?
Oh man, she's very I was expecting her to be completely rock solid, but no, she's very emotive with those goggles.
This gorgeous bard.
This is a very unique judge. Okay, Morgan is learning, very important, never go without an opening statement. The judge gets weird.
Whatever. Forget it. Forget I said anything. I was trying to lighten the mood, but I can see everyone hates me. Do the trial without me. They're guilty or whatever.
Oh dear, she can take those goggles off. Date of birth, September 2nd. Height, 263 centimeters. Weight, 299 kilograms. Blood type... You're not going to get a blood type out of an ad. Occupation, automated dependent, adjutant. Likes raw salmon, running water, gymnastics. Dislikes criminals, contrarians, and pigeons. Oh well, I can't meet you on that. Contrarian was my favourite voice in Slay the Princess. Sign, Libra. Self-assigned. The scales, because of course it is. Type, open, obedient, observant O people. 3 sizes, 109B, 64W, 94H. Because those are definitely things that I wanted to know about the robot judge. Honestly, this feels like the perfect place to end an episode. I'm going to have to do some finagling off screen, but... Oh, what are you going to do? Until next time, guys, take care. I'll see you all around.